Hello! This one's for British people, so anyone who isn't British, look away, it's a secret, this isn't for you. This is just for young British people as well, actually, so any old British people, just mute the sound, we're all gonna have a secret chat, okay? Close the door. Okay, right, so young British people, if you're anything like me...
When I was your age, I mean, you're nothing like me now, you're all good looking and energetic and stuff.
Then, in the last few days, when you've been hearing people and seeing people on Twitter go like, hey, register to vote, you've probably been going like, how? And then you've settled on, I'm not gonna bother voting anyway, I mean, what difference is my one vote gonna make? Anyway, nothing goes my way. Look at the bunch of idiots who are in charge. Look at the bunch of idiots opposing them. That Corbyn isn't perfect. When what you actually mean, if you pull away the swaggery mask that you've got on, is I'm a little bit socially awkward and I don't know how to do it and you keep pestering me to do it but I don't know how and I'm not prepared to ask. So, for those people, I've put the link there. It turns out it's really easy. I went and had a look myself. You just go there and you click the thing and you basically type your name in, that's it, and it's done. I wanted to do that, but rather than pester you myself, I thought it'd just help. And then also, since you're here, I'll tell you why I want you to do it, and then I'll send you to a much more entertaining video than this that'll tell you why you shouldn't feel like everyone's out to get you and you can't do anything that makes a difference. But the short version is that even if your vote doesn't actually, like, make it so that someone gets in power, what it does do is change the number of seats, and it changes the balance of power, and it changes, like, the agenda. It does, genuinely. There's no such thing, in the UK anyway, as a wasted vote. What you vote for will in fact influence stuff. It's actually the case. Here's why I want you to do it. I don't go on about this very often. I've sort of wondered back and forth whether I should be going on about it more often or not, and I can't come to a decision. But here it is anyway. I need these to live. These are my tablets in my tablet box, which I've hidden from you in most of my videos, even though it's usually on my PC desk waiting there for like me to have, because it just seems like an ugly business that you don't need to know much about, but I'm prepared to tell you about it, and honestly the best way that I could do that is by reading you. You know when I was doing Retro Vida last month, I was reading old diaries? Well, I've got diary entries from the day that means that I now have to have all those tablets. Here's the short version. I was a completely healthy person with absolutely nothing physically wrong with me whatsoever one day, and then through nothing that I did, and through no change and no fault of my own, and no fault of anybody else's, suddenly I was someone who for the rest of their life relied on the continued patronage of the NHS, which Theresa May and her friends are doing their absolute level best to destroy. I don't like being hyperbolic. I do, I really like being hyperbolic, but I don't like it when people go like, you were being hyperbolic, blah, 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 typey type, so I won't. So I won't go as far as to say that if the Conservatives win the general election, which they're, you know, heading towards doing in a couple of weeks, then I'll die. I won't go that far as to say that they're trying to kill me, but it feels like they are, because I did have a friend who had the same condition as me and has died in the last couple of years during the era of Tory cuts to the NHS. Now, I don't know to what extent those cuts affected his lifespan. I don't. But they happened at the same... He'd been surviving with this for a long time, and then the Tories got in and there were a lot of cuts to the NHS, and then he died, and... You know, now I have a much milder version of the same condition, but I still rely on these, and because of the NHS I can afford them. And without the NHS, I will not be able to afford them. And I certainly won't be able to afford the regular doctor visits and, you know, blood tests and hospital visits and things that I have to do. Now, by the way, I don't worry too much. I'm quite healthy at the moment because of the NHS. Honestly, it's amazing. I talk to Americans all the time who can't afford basic healthcare stuff that we all need. Like, if I'm ill, I go to the doctors. I just wander over there. It's free. I mean, I have to make an appointment, but it's free. It's amazing that there's anywhere where it isn't free. It's incredible to me that America is trying even to get rid of what little they have. And with all that in the news, I'm hoping that young British people are looking at what's going on with Trump and the ACA and so on, and are going to go, well, let's not let that happen here. Because you actually can. It's actually within your power. Right now, Theresa May tweeted today that if she loses 6 seats, then that's her. That's her done. I would like you to vote for me to remain living, if that's at all possible. I don't know how long I would survive without an NHS. They haven't told me. I haven't asked. Because it's never been in question. We've always had an NHS throughout my life. It means that everyone has access to healthcare whenever they need it, and the only penalty is that we just, somewhere in among our taxes, some of that is sent towards paying for this. There's just literally no downside to the NHS. at all. You might have seen in the papers and stuff that like the NHS is ailing or failing or what have you. It's not. It's just that the Tories want to be able to kill it off. So the money that it takes to run the NHS from our taxes, they are not giving that. They keep taking that, cutting that down and not giving it to the NHS, and so the Tories are able to point out like, that bit of the NHS isn't working as well as it used to, therefore that's evidence that the NHS doesn't work, let's dismantle it, vote Conservative. And it's a good thing, the NHS, and it's not something that we should allow them to take away, and they want to. If you think I'm wrong about this, by the way, maybe you think I'm being hyperbolic about this, so please, by all means, go and find out for yourself, go and research it, find out exactly what they intend to do with the NHS and why I've got the impression that they're going to kill it. But I have got that impression, and I'd rather they just didn't have the power to do that. And there's two ways of doing that. One is for them to lose the election, which kind of seems unlikely, but the other is for them to win the election, but enough people voted against them that they have to back down a little bit because of the way Parliament works. People from all the different parties get seats based on how many votes they got around the country, and so it is actually worth throwing your name down for something. So, just register to vote anyway, and then you can think about it. Point is, you've only got until, I think it's like Monday, and I think it's Monday inclusive, I think it's midnight on Monday. You've only got till then to register, so do that. And then we can argue about what to do with the vote afterwards. So I'm going to put a link to a video which is Politics Unboringed, which is a much more interesting chat about exactly why your vote won't be wasted, no matter who it's for, and explains why and how the system works. There's nothing boring in it. It's basically a comedy sketch. It's really good. So go, quick, do it, quick. There's a real time limit on this, and if you don't register and then do the thing, you deliberately absconded from having a voice, because it doesn't count as like a protest vote. There is a protest vote you can do, and he tells you about that in the video. But not voting is not a protest. That's just excusing yourself from having any influence. Basically, everyone in power is counting on the fact that young people in Britain won't bother to do what I'm asking you to do now, which you can do without standing up or phoning anyone. I know we all hate phoning people. You don't have to do that. You just have to click the link and put your name down, and that's it. And they think you won't. And God, a lot of you won't. So I need you to do it. Never mind. See, this is me rambling on now, and you might hate all of my ideas, and we'll talk about them another time. But if you want to, I'm going to be voting, so you'd better go and register to vote if you're annoyed with me. And if you're not annoyed with me, then you better go and register to vote, because then you can save my life. Hey! And like, it's not just me, it's like most people in my family, it's most of my friends. I'm trying to think of anyone I know. There must be people I know who don't rely on the NHS for something. But it's not a lot of people. Yeah, click the thing. Bye. www.youtube.com/